3, 2. Look at me go. We would have sat here forever. Thank God I checked. Let's wait for this bad boy to pop up. As you can see, I'm an expert streamer. Oh, there. You can see me. Oh. Hi. Yeah, I am sharing my screen with the, Alright. Yeah. An expert streamer. Oh, I cure myself on this side, and now I know that's good. Alright, everyone. There we go. Thank you guys so much for the troubleshooting, even though it was completely my fault. Alright. Alright, you got the Discord open. Look at those beautiful Discord people. And let's head over to that. I'm actually going to keep Discord open up on my phone so I can see who's hopping in and out. And check the chat. Womp. Great. Yeah. I am actually, you know what? That's actually a good idea. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go to the YouTube and let... Hi, everyone. Oh, look at all the hearts. Thank you guys so much. Hey, everybody. So, for those of you listening real quick before I do my little spiel, if you guys could put all of your questions in the YouTube comment section on the Newgrounds Festival's channel, that'd be amazing. So I could keep up with them a little easier. And if you guys are... if I do miss some questions, at the end of this panel, there will be a dedicated Q&A, which will be a direct talking. It won't just me be answering questions through text. It'll be, you guys can raise your hands in the stage, and I will be calling on you guys, all right? So, let's give it a few minutes. Everyone's hopping in. We're at 7:10. Fuck it. Everyone's here. All right. So, welcome, everybody, to... If I could get my pen, my little penorino. There we go. You guys see my face? Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to, as you can see at the this-ish corner. Oh, that is not the color I want. This-ish corner. Welcome to the first Anisloth University lecture. What is Anisloth University? Anisloth University is an open, community-supported, free art education program launching officially in the fourth quarter of 2021. AU is a semi-formal art program that will be ever-growing and expanding with an evergreen style formatting. So what that means is we will be making videos and modules that will stand the test of time. So even years down the line, say someone catches up to this later on, this information will not be very, even though there will be some program heavy stuff, it'll be more, straightforward education. The key factor to this program, though, is that it does not only cover art, creation, and education. AU also covers the mental and physical health of the artist as well. We believe that the artist is not just a creative, but also a state of being that requires a well-rounded lifestyle and proper support. We break down this system into 3 categories: the AU body, AU mind, and the AU skills. These are the names of the different types of modules that you'll be seeing. Today's lecture, for example, is an AU mind module lecture. So what that means is that we're not really going to be doing any drawing skills today, or talking about, our physical fitness or physical health with our diet or anything like that. Today is more about the mind, and of course, we're going to be talking about motivation today. But let me get back to these 3 categories. I'm going to grab everything of water first. I have this giant jug of water. Hey, everybody. Everyone's being so nice. Thank you so much. So, AU body. In the body modules, we look at the physical health of the artist. We cover diet, exercise, healthy routine building, and positive lifestyle management. Getting our artists away from their screens, papers, and canvases, and getting them to go outside and moving. Which sounds scary, but it's very important. AU Mind, like today's lecture, is in the Mind modules, we will look at the mental health of the artist. We cover common issues like anxiety, depression, and other problems that plague the art world chronically. This is all from a non-clinical standpoint. I want to iterate that very heavily. This is non-clinical. I am not a psychiatrist. I am not a therapist. But this all comes from advice sourced from my own training and experiences with medical professionals. This is a field that I've put myself into for this specifically, to learn from other mental health professionals in person and online, the courses that I take, and then taking it all and translating it into specifically for the artist. The main goal with these modules is to ensure the viewer feels heard, understood, and is given the advice to point them in the right direction. In the skills module, we of course get down to the nit and grit and starting to learn art. This is not just a regular tutorial series that you'd see somewhere else on YouTube, like the top 10 ways to get better line art or 3 ways to shade my drawings. We'll be going in depth with every course playlist, starting with foundations and theory, and then sending students to whatever course outline they choose next. This is all coupled with recommended skill level requirements and recommended course path structure. But of course, students are free to watch as they please. Each lesson plan will have homework, post-course discussion, and breakdown sheets available through links in the description. Subjects available early on would be like 2D design, 2D animation, and art history. Eventually, though, we'd like to expand to 3D art and animation, voice acting, and traditional art forms as well. Big thing for me like sculpting, pottery, painting, charcoal drawings, oil paintings. But yes, this is more of a semi-formal art education. So what is our goal? Why am I doing this? Why are me and my team doing this? There are some other people behind the scenes helping me. We believe at Anisloth University that public art education is lacking and inconsistent. We believe that everyone deserves a proper education, and we are looking to be a place where you do not just enrich yourselves with the beauties of art, but with the knowledge of your mind and body as well. Education is the foundation of a balanced life. As a TA and a teacher and a mentor, I've noticed, especially in the art world, how inconsistent public education has been. And from students that have come out of the public education system from their schools, and they know color theory, they know foundational drawing skills, they understand shape language, and there are some students that don't know the difference between complementary colors or how to draw a perspective grid, which both are totally fine and totally valid, but it gives us proof that there's some wrenches in the machine. But with that in mind, that is why we're doing this. This is why I do this. So if you're wondering about my motivations, this is exactly why I'm doing it. This is all community supported, and because of that, we get to have things like today's lecture. So today's lecture is about motivation. What is it? How do I find it? How do I keep it? And so on. There'll be some few other things like procrastination, perfectionism sprinkled in between. And the reason why we do that is because these things will build up to actually tackling a motivation. But before I start, I would like to thank the Newgrounds Festival team for hosting this lecture and being so supportive of Anisloth University in its infancy and of its cause. I've had some great talks with Stan and the rest of the team and other members of the Newgrounds Festival's Discord, and they've been nothing but supportive of our mission here. And I can tell by the beautiful people that are already here right at the beginning. And once again, if you are catching this now and are going to leave later, or you're catching this later and you're gonna, you can't be here now, this will be pre-recorded and also chopped up into little sections too for later consumption. All right, so don't worry if you miss anything. Oh my God, I'm gonna burp. Also, I talk formally and precisely and neatly as I can, but I'm also a gross goombatz, so I apologize. I'm still a sweaty Italian man, so I can't escape that. Anywho, let's take a moment to just not just for me, but for you, because this is going to be a lot of information and a lot of things to take in. All right? So, oh, wrong page. Wrong page. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let me hop out of here real quick. Move on to another piece. How's everyone doing? Let's see chat. Let's all take notes. Yes, Chroma, good advice. You guys should take notes. You the noob, don't worry. Whatever you write, I'll figure it out. Thank you for being here. Let me hop into the other thing I wanted, which I can't seem to find, which is great. Ah, there we go. So, I'm going to have to find my other notes. There we go. So, the first thing we're going to tackle today is make a big-ass brush. Pro. Oh, my God. What is that brush? We don't want that. There we go. Procrastination. This is our first step, what we're going to tackle. All right. So, oh, my phone closed down. I can't see the chat. There we go. So, procrastination. Procrastination is a really tricky thing to tackle, and it can be intimidating, like most things. But a cool thing to know about procrastination is it is pretty much a universal experience, and there is a reason why. Now, this might sound a little crazy, so bear with me here, but procrastination is actually not a problem. It's actually a solution. Our brains are so... Actually, let me let that sit for a second. Procrastination is not a problem. It's actually a solution. All right? Our brains are wired to find the path of least resistance, to get things done in the most effective way possible. Our brain is designed to be efficient. Think all the time that the pleasure that you can... Now, think of all the times that you can... You procrastinate to get pleasure. All right? A big way to think about this, to think of, the logic behind it not being a problem, being a solution, is if... Say, let's think of grades. If I can study or work for 2 days and get a B, why would I work for 2 weeks to get an A? You know what I mean? Your brain is like, why would we go through all this trouble if we can just get it done in a few days or a few hours? And because our brain works ourselves like that, what the outcome ends up being is we end up getting stressed at the last minute. That how our brain responds and how we go about solving this is what makes that stress and makes it a bad thing. But procrastination itself is not really the problem. It's survived evolutionary. It's survived through evolution. Everyone experiences procrastination in some form. Now, there's different forms of procrastination. All right? There is... So I'll go with number 1 here. There is ideal. Oh my God! I clicked like the button. Let me actually bring down this brush size a little bit. Idealistic. That's number 1. All right. Number 2 is avoidance procrastination. All right. So number 1 is idealistic. Number 2 is avoidance. Now, something you guys will hear me do a lot is I repeat, and especially in this live format, I'm going to be doing that a lot. So I apologize if that gets annoying. And then 3 is operational. Now, I'm going to be covering, when I cover these, operation, I spelled it right? Yeah, I did. When I cover these, different forms, when I would go on later, different forms of personalities, different parts of motivation. I'm going to be highlighting the ones that I feel most artists fall into, but of course, everyone can be in different categories depending on the situation or their personality types. So we're going to start with idealistic procrastination. All right? So, number 1, Idealistic procrastination. If I spell things wrong, I'm like super self-conscious of that. If I spell things wrong, I am sorry. Sadly, I'm not an English major. But, all right. Idealistic procrastination. What's the problem? What's the problem that we face with idealistic procrastination? I'm going to burp again. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Oh, it's so gross. All right, big sweaty Italian guy. What's the problem with idealistic procrastination? The problem is we get so caught up in the fantasy of our outcome. All right? Until your brain figures out how to make it possible, it's not going to attempt it. It's the procrastination of readiness. All right? So we're so stuck in our fantasy of what it's going to be. I'm going to make a big comic. I'm going to make a video game. I'm going to make a big art piece. I tend to like to think that I want to work in these big scale drawings. But I get so caught up, or I'm going to make a YouTube channel. I'm going to make a animation channel. I'm going to learn to animate, even these different levels, all right? We get so caught up in the fantasy and the readiness, we get caught in this attachment to our fantasy that prevents us from moving forward and taking action. And what happens if we get caught, and then what happens is you get caught in this fantasy to when you eventually do start, you procrastinate, and then, say there's a deadline or, the end of the rope where you want to get something done, or this mostly for us artists, creative types, we set a deadline for ourselves. Like, I'm going to release this comic, the first webpage of this comic, in 3 weeks. I'm going to release this game in 2 months. And then 2 months go by, and because we're so caught up in setting up our programs, setting up this and that, doing everything but the thing we actually have to do. You see, procrastination is, it's not a lack of motivation. You're not lazy. What the problem is that you're so caught up in, you're doing everything else like the thing you have to do. It's really hard for you to keep your mind's focus on the thing that you actually want to do. All right, is that making sense for you guys? Best site in my opinion. Newgrounds is the best site. Oh yeah, great, awesome. Happy you're finding it interesting. All right. So we get caught up in the readiness. I'm going to keep grabbing the wrong pen. Get the fuck out of your pen. That's the wrong pen. I need this pen. And we get caught up in the fantasy. Like I said before, procrastination. Well, it says procrastination of readiness. Now, how do we fix this? All right. First, we have to recognize that you're chasing a fantasy. If you choose to, make a giant comic book, but you're only consistently getting a page done and then stopping, then it's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to want to stop and, not go with it. So we have to recognize that we're chasing this crazy big dream. Not saying it's not possible, but we're chasing this giant big goal first. All right? Without taking that first step. The second step is to grieve loss. All right? To let go of this, let go of the fact that you keep failing. All right? Grieve the loss of, what's going on. Because contrary to popular belief, grieving is not giving up. It's accepting the loss and moving forward. A big thing we get caught in with idealistic procrastination is that we go, man, I am never going to make this comic book. I am never going to make this video game. I suck. I'm the worst. All right? No. We have to accept that we fucked up and keep moving. All right? You ever heard, the Yoda, there's no, oh my God, I'm going to fuck up the quote. There's no there is no try, there's only do and fail or something like that. All right? That's what I say. You don't try, you either do it and you fail. Because when you fail, you can grieve and move on. When you try, you get caught in that cycle of procrastinating the readiness, all right? Instead, pick a more manageable goal and shoot for that. As long as you have an unrealistic fantasy, you're not going to be able to move forward. You can't start 5 steps ahead. You need to start from the position you are at. Oh my God, I'm so gross. So what I mean is, let's keep using the comic book example because I love comics and I know a lot of people here. I talk to a lot of people that like want to make comics, all right? I want to make this comic. A comic, say one issue of a comic might be like 30 pages. And you're like, I'm going to do a comic book in a month. Well, there's only 30 to 31 days in a month. Unless you're a psycho and you want to do that in February, then you have even less days. All right? But if I make these little goals like I'm going to do 1 page every week or every 2 weeks, bi-weekly. You might still fail at making a page every week, but it's a way more achievable goal and a way smaller, realistic goal that you can easily make progress towards. So if I fail to make a page every week, maybe I can make it bi-weekly. All right? And it's also the fact that it's more manageable, it's going to be less stressful, less, anxious, all right? You're going to feel like, oh, it's a smaller task. It's not this big Herculean thing that I'm like, oh my God, I have to do. Because then what happens is a lot of people that procrastinate like this, they tend to get caught up in it and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this. Why did I do this to myself? Why did I promise this? A big way to avoid that kind of stress is don't post that you're going to do something online. Don't announce you're going to do something till it's almost done. All right? Don't tell your fans and your subscribers that you have big things coming. Because what's going to happen is now you're forcing yourself to be in this unrealistic timeline, or this timeline that might not be realistic a few weeks from now. Yeah, so Keo says, so make a short, achievable goal instead of making vague, big goal. Yes. All right? So that is how we handle idealistic procrastination, all right? Does anyone have any questions about that? Why, before I move on to the next one? All right. So, let's move on. I'll just call this IP. All right, number 2. Avoidance procrastination. 2. Avoidance procrastination. Whatever. Procrastination. You guys get the gist. All right? What's the problem with these kind of people? All right? What's your problem? What's your problem with these kind of people? All right? This kind of procrastination tends to be based on emotions. It arises when you're trying to avoid facing certain situations because they make you feel a way that you don't want to. All right? Situations that make you feel sad, situations that make you angry. Oh, that's a missed opportunity. Hold on. There we go. It is it's a protective mechanism that our brain puts ourselves into. It's your brain stepping in and preventing you from doing something that will cause you emotional pain. Oftentimes, we try to rationally justify that we should try to do something that we are trying to avoid. This strategy usually isn't effective because we're trying to use thoughts that deal with emotion. So basically what I'm trying to say is that we try to fix this by telling ourselves we shouldn't be feeling it. And the worst thing that you can do is disregard your own emotions, because your emotions are real and they are valid, all right? They could be irrational, all right? They might be based in anxiety or some other problem you're dealing with, but it doesn't mean they're not real, okay? How do we fix this? Ask yourself the following questions. What are the emotions I'm trying to avoid? It's O before I. Oop. My God. See. What are the emotions I'm trying to avoid? All right? What are the consequences that you're trying to avoid? Sometimes the emotion can be you're worried, all right? You're like, oh, geez, I don't know what's going to happen, you know. What are the consequences you're trying to avoid? Big one. How would someone who's in that situation feel? The best thing that we can do, yeah, everyone's saying stress, anxiety. The best thing that we can the best thing that we can do in these situations is to put ourselves in someone else's shoes, to be empathetic. All right, I hope that burp didn't get picked up on there. I don't know. I ate like a hero today or something. It was the worst decision. Now I'm a gross mess, but that's okay. Put ourselves in the other person's shoes. Like, oh, if I was a friend, if my friend, I'll grab some from the chat. If my friend Neko was feeling the same way I was feeling, what would I tell them? What advice would I give them? Because sometimes what a lot of people tend to do, and a lot of artists tend to do, is be very self-loathing, have very low self-image, and it's hard for us to be empathetic towards ourselves. All right, to look outside ourselves looking in. All right? Ask yourself what you would tell a friend. All right? And then use that type of use that advice on yourself. Now, this is not really a big artist type of procrastination, but this does happen sometimes with, when you're working on projects together, and there might be some conflicts on a team, and you don't know how to address it. This could even be between you and a professor or a mentor. You don't know how to approach a certain issue. We tend to avoid it altogether. That is a big no-no. All right. And the last one is, I think the biggest one. I think idealistic procrastination is a big artist one, but the other one is operational. All right, so let's call this AP. The last big one is operational. Number 3. Operational procrastination. If you guys don't know how to spell procrastination after this, well, more realistically, if I don't, there's something wrong with me. All right. This is a big one. This is like the big one that plagues artists. All right? The problem. It happens as a result of our brain having difficulty engaging in unclear tasks. What is the big thing that artists do? What is the main thing that we're doing? Art is so abstract, and the tasks of completing art, whatever the type of art may be, music, performance, drawing, art, painting, all right? It's so abstract. It's not like going like, all right, I have to open up this Excel spreadsheet. Here are finances from this company. Here are and all the relative data and information. I have to put it in an Excel spreadsheet. I have to do this between 9 and 5. I'm a cook, and I have to prep my workstation. I have to prep my the food. I have to get my stoves on and on a simmer. I have to do all this stuff for when certain orders come in, all right? All these other jobs are way less abstract. Even things that are like artistic, like cooking. I really think cooking is an art. In a kitchen, there's a system. You know what you're experiencing this one. After you've done the task, you say to yourself, oh, that was easy. I should have done this earlier. Why did I wait? Why was I so worried about it? All right? The problem is a lot of our lives, especially nowadays, with how more progress and efficiency focused everything is, everything's so structured. Your workday, even your pleasure time with your friends and your family. We're going to go to the movie theaters at this time, then afterwards we're going to go get some ice cream or go get dinner, and then we're going to go home and we're going to hang out and have an after party, and then we're going to go home and I'm going to go to bed at 10:30. We're going to go to lunch, and then we're going to go to the park, and then we're going to go, there's some structure to everything else. When you're approaching a blank canvas, a blank multi-track, or, whatever, you're like, oh, geez. You have this problem too. Yeah, a lot of artists have this problem. You're like, where the hell do I start? Here's your solution. Take the abstract task and break it down into actionable things. I'm a 2D artist. I'm a 2D generalist, so I'm going to break it down in the sense of a painting. All right? So say I have this big painting to do. All right? And I'm like, man, how the hell do I do? It's like a big battle scene or something. How the hell do I start this? All right? Well, let's think of what it takes to make the painting. All right? I need to do, instead of doing this, goal, make painting stupid. Oh. And we get mad at ourselves. Just make it stupid. Let's break it down. First, we grab our canvas and everything. So we're doing like a digital painting, right? This is most of people here, I'm assuming, do digital stuff. Thumbnail. Get down your composition, all right? Palette. See what kind of colors you're going to use. Break the thumbnail down into a I was right, overlay, or outline. Yeah, an outline. Then sketch it out. Do your flats. Do your shadows. Highlights. Touch up. Maybe some detail. Look at that. We turned this big, annoying, scary thing into a lot, because remember, art takes a lot. Takes a lot of effort. Art is hard. Art is hard. Don't let anyone tell you different. No matter what kind of art you do. Art is challenging. It is exhausting. Do not let anyone else tell you otherwise. If they do, tell me. I will go beat them up. But now we just made it into thumbnail, palette, outline, sketch, flats, shadow, highlight, touch-up, detail. Even these last two can kind of get whatever. Now I know I have a comprehensive list of what I have to do. All right? The cheat code is to reverse engineer your task, starting at the end, if you want, and then check things off as your to-do list. I try and do it from the beginning because I understand the structure, but, you know, that's how I tend to do it. If you have a lot of checkboxes that represent success, then even if one of them results in failure, you'll feel less crushed by them. So a big thing is, I usually try to do breaking it down. It does help breaking it down. Yeah, yep. So happy you guys are picking it up. This is good. So even if, say, like, my thumbnail's good, my palette's good, my outline is good, my sketch is good, my flats are good, my shadows stink, but my highlights are good, and I have some cool particles and touch-up and details. Even if I do all of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, even if I get 8 out of 9, that is way better. That's a, what? That's like a 90-something? 90 whatever? Oh, sorry. Actually, no, it's this. You know, it's a 90 or whatever. It's way better than just failing at doing my painting or waiting to do it and never getting it done. All right? A big thing we have to learn, you know, I say that a lot, a big thing we have to learn. We have to learn. A good thing to learn is that it's better to be someone who fails sometimes but also succeeds than someone who fails all the time. Those are two very different things. When you procrastinate the wrong way, when you let procrastination take over your brain and the stresses of it, and you let it stop you from doing things, you're failing. Stinks, I know. I've been there. I'm still there. But if I take these baby steps, it's way better to be someone that sucks at shadows but has a full painting. Because you want to know why? I can go back in and fix my shadows. All right? So that is operational procrastination. So those are our 3 levels, all right? We went over idealistic procrastination, avoidance procrastination, and operational procrastination. Now, a great bounce off. First of all, let's take a break real quick. Let's take a breather. We're doing good. We're making time. I'm going to hop in OBS real quick. How long have we been streaming? Oh, I can't even tell. Making good time. Let's all... Now, procrastination, like I said before. Oh, we got in here. I need to accept potential failure. That is a death challenge I need to overcome. Correct, Keo. My mind goes so fast that this is really a good reminder. So how many ideas, but so little time. I bite way more than I can chew. We'll get into that later. That's a great thought, Neko. All right. So, if you guys could tell by the title, this is motivation through meditation. There is no requirement or pushing of any spirituality on Anisloth University. Everything, and anything is accepted. But I tend to approach things from an Eastern method. At a little bit younger age, now I'm 23 now, around 17, I started getting into Eastern ways of thought, practicing Buddhism and Hinduism. And I've learned through an Eastern approach that a Western approach tends to be one size fits all, and it tends to, we'll learn later on, push us to all shoehorn us all into one category when there's all different types of brains and body types. So a big thing that I've learned, kind of ironic watching this, then I use my paint to draw, and again, art comes in many forms. It does, hey, as long as it works for you, all right? I find myself overwhelmed by the project I planned. I don't really know what to prioritize. All right, that's good. We're going to move on from that, but I want to bring it back to here. So meditation is a great tool. You know, every morning what I do is I wake up, and I'm talking about it later. I wake up and do my morning stretches and my morning meditation. A good thing about meditation is the goal of meditation is to make your brain from a light bulb, which a lot of artists are, all these crazy ideas, we're touching all these different surfaces, to a laser pointer. All right, and procrastination, all it is, lack of motivation. At the base core of it is the inability to keep your brain focused on one subject. All right. So one meditation I use to regain focus is the Om meditation. This is one that a lot of people hear, and I'm going to demonstrate it now for you. So I'm going to do real quick, just the Om meditation. This is a quick 5-breath meditation that I use to refocus myself. I have problems with getting caught in a spiral. Some of you might relate to this, where I'm procrastinating and I'm stressed. I catch myself opening Instagram, closing Instagram, opening Discord, closing Discord, opening TikTok or Facebook, closing TikTok or Facebook, reopening TikTok or Facebook, looking up a YouTube video, closing YouTube video, seeing my streamers are streaming, and I'm hopping into all these different things because my brain is going in a spiral, and I'm stressed, I'm anxious. So these are one of the meditations that I use to just, all right? So I'm going to demonstrate it now for you, all right? The Om meditation is 3 syllables, I guess. It's A, O, M. All right? So, close your eyes, kind of put your back straight, all right? I implore you to try it with me. Is there more than, real quick, I'm going to answer a question. Is there more than one way to meditate? There are hundreds of ways to meditate. I don't know them all. I can't go over them all in just this lecture, but these are some ones that I use in these certain situations. But I implore you to explore it and find ones that work for you, because not every single one's going to work for everybody, all right? So ready? Let's go. A, O, M. So we're going to roll our shoulders back. Breathe in. Om. Om. Breathe out. Breathe in. Om. You can do these longer, shorter, whatever you have breath for. The goal is to breathe in and comfortably feel the vibration in your chest with the Om. Focus on the vibration and breathe out. Let's do one more time. Focus on the vibration in your throat, your chest. All right? You might feel silly trying it. Acknowledge that in yourself. You're going like, oh, this is dumb. You know, or about waking up someone in the house. You can do it quietly. You just want to hear the vibration, the vibration, as you can hear, I'm tone deaf. I'm an artist, not a singer. Feel that vibration, all right? And if you feel yourself, this is silly, this is stupid, it's good. Recognize it, all right? And wash it away. This is important, all right? Yoga is a great sense of meditation, and I say stretches. I tend to use stretches instead of yoga because I don't generally use more direct yoga poses because I'm not that flexible yet. I'm working up to them. That's great, all right? So one more. Roll our shoulders back. And breathe out. Wash away, all right? Focus yourself, because what that's going to do is going to help you clear your mind. Focus on your breathing. What you're doing with meditation is you are focusing on one point. Whether it be when you do the palms, rub together, and you focus on the heat over your eyes, or you're focusing the vibration in your chest. Good, I'm happy you like it, Mr. Epic. When you focus on the vibration in your chest, you're learning to focus on one thing. And meditation takes a long time to practice. It takes a long time to get the hang of it. But once you do, you know, it takes different speeds for different people. Once you do, you're training your mind to focus. And then you can move that skill onto other things, like your art. Like, really anything. Here, let me open my phone keeps closing. That's what I'm using to read the chat. All right. Hope you guys can feel. All right. Everyone good? Let's move on to the next topic, all right? So, hope everyone's enjoying so far. Once again, I'd like to thank Newgrounds Festivals for hosting this. We are over in the Newgrounds Festival Discord, where afterwards we'll be taking a substantial, a more focused Q&A. A substantial one, because you guys are great, but a more focused Q&A, all right? Let's move on to a real beast that most artists have a problem with. All right, I'm going to use blue ink for this one. Why not? Perfectionism. Oh my God, I keep hitting that button. Perfectionism. Raise of hands in the chat. How many people deal with perfectionism? I stream by screaming at the top of my lungs in the face of whoever's around. I feel that. I feel that. Raise his hand. Ooh. Yep. Perfectionism. Almost every artist deals with this in some form. Yeah, I see all the hands in chat going up. All right. This is the big money ticket. This is the one that everyone's like, how the fuck do I get rid of this? All right. This one, sadly, is not as clear-cut of an answer that I wish I could give. It's more of a, thought of philosophy on it. So, let me just talk more abstractly about how people think when they're procrastinating. All right. So someone say, I avoid posting something if it looks bad. That's definitely a big example of it. All right. Sorry, I keep wiping my nose. I'm gross. If you can't tell already by the burping. sometimes when someone realizes they're self-conscious of their perfectionism, when they at least get to that point, they tend to think, I know what I'll do. I'm going to start being kinder to myself while focusing on my goals as well. I'm going to stop being so harsh, and I'm going to stop doing this, and I'm going to stop doing that, and I'm going to just be nice to myself while also trying to be as fast and to be better. Now, when people say that, it can be tricky when you put yourself in that mindset, because what you're doing is you're telling yourself that you're going to be perfect to not be perfect. All right, so this is the only thing I'm going to write down on the screen. Ready? You can't beat perfectionism by being... Oh, not what I wanted. Nope, not what I wanted. By being perfect at not being perfect. All I'm going to write. And we're going to talk about this. You can't beat perfectionism by being perfect and not being perfect. You can't tell yourself you're going to move on and you're not going to be stressed anymore and it's all going to be good and you're fine and you're going to be nicer to yourself and you're not going to worry about it, you're not going to think about it anymore, because that's not true. All right? That's still trying to be perfect. You're trying to be perfect and not being perfect. All right? What you have to do, and I'm being honest here, you have to learn to be kind to yourself, to be forgiving of yourself when you're not progressing, when you're not getting better at your art, when you're not getting better at your music. Because kindness is not tied to progress. All right? Your kindness for yourself is not tied to your progress. All right? Do you guys hear what I'm saying here? You guys get what I'm saying? The way I deal with perfectionism is accepting the final result. I'll never look at the image in my head, so I'd rather just have fun with it. All right, Maya, that's a great point, and it's good. You're accepting yourself. All right, we're gonna get into that, but I want to say it again. Kindness isn't tied to progress. Progress is morally neutral. You're not a bad person because you're not progressing at your goals. All right? What's wrong with making progress slower? Oh, I have to, everyone else around me is so much better. Oh, this person made a game and now they're super popular and everyone loves them. Oh, if I don't make one now, this train is leaving and everyone's not liking this art style anymore. Oh, if I don't do this now, let's bring it in. All right? All that anxiety. I feel for you. I hear you. I hear how in your head you are. All right? And that is totally okay. It's human. And as artists, we care so much about not just progressing, but just we care so we idolize the people we see around us as them being perfect and them being the version we want to be when we have to be our best selves. All right? Kindness is not tied to progress. You deserve kindness even if you don't progress. Now I'm going to ask you this, and you're free to answer in chat if you want to. Ask yourself, do you think you deserve kindness when you don't progress, when you're not progressing? Do you think you deserve progress when you're still? You can answer if you want. If you don't, you can keep it to yourself and you'll know your answer. But ask yourself that. When you're drawing, when you're studying, when you're working on anything you care about, not everything's about art, working about anything. Do you give yourself kindness when you're not progressing? Or do you tell yourself you're a bad person or feel like you're a bad person? All right? Most of the time, the answer is no. And that's something we have to that's something that we have to understand. A big part of why I'm doing this is a lot of the time, let me go off script for a second. A big reason of why I'm doing this and why I believe that Anisloth University is very important, or the mission statement is important, is because there's a big part of our education system that is missing. Teaching us how to love our bodies, but teaching us how to love ourselves, there's only so much you can learn about things, structures of, history, math, all this stuff is super important that I care about as well. But there's a lack of education about our spirit, about our soul, about our emotions, all right? And then we're stuck going in this spiral, especially the way the internet nowadays, this chronic sharing, this chronic trauma dumping, where now we're even more in our heads about our feelings and our emotions, where everyone on the internet, and I don't mean this as an insult, I mean because of all the things that we read, all these lectures that you guys consume, almost everyone's like an amateur psychologist, which is great, but we're also caught in our heads and we start using these words and we get so stuck that we're lacking the ability to just tell people that, and especially in, most developed places, progress is good. If you're not progressing, you're bad. If you're poor, you're bad. If you're not smart, you're bad. All right? The information is morally neutral. All right? You're a human being. You deserve kindness. You deserve to give kindness to yourself. All right? So ask yourself, while you're making something, while you're trying to progress in some way, shape, or form, like for me, I'm trying to get better at 3D work. When I can't model something, or my sculpting doesn't look that good, that's okay. It's okay. I'll get there. I have to accept where I am. Acceptance of where you are is not accepting and then not making progressing. Like, you hear some people say, oh, if, they have to accept who I am, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean you don't change anything. Accepting who you are is accepting where you are now. Accepting where you are now. And then taking that, loving yourself now, and then moving forward. All right? Makes me feel like I wasted a lot of time, and it scares me at nights while in bed. I'm sorry to hear that, nerd. I usually get so mean to myself, and it keeps me from finishing even small things. It might be affecting my stomach physically. Something I go through right now, because the pain is in the same place every time. Real quick, our emotions are in our stomach. That's why we eat to make ourselves feel better. Our emotions are in our stomach, 110%. All right, and I can see this in the chat. I can see how you guys react. And I'm happy I'm hitting the nail on the head here. I'm happy you guys are hearing this because this is important. All right. Remember, be kind to yourself. Okay. So, once again, let's take a quick breather. If you're just joining us, this is a Anisloth University Mind Lecture. We are a free, community-supported, semi-formal art education program that is looking to expand education for the artist, to not just give them the proper skills, but also the knowledge about their bodies and their minds to make them a well-rounded individual. All right? We've just gone over procrastination, perfectionism. If you're joining in now, just so you know. Just so you know, now everything will be pre-recorded and even later on be broken up into sections. So if you have missed anything, do not worry. It'll be back. Oh my god. Ugh, gross. I have this itch on my nose. Anyway, oh god, I gotta eat. My boyfriend forces me to take breakfast and breaks and eat, or like something like that, so I take care of myself. This is awesome. Great. Bro, my hatred for prodigies is still there, bro. What is it? What is it? Oh, that's a good question. From Belayev? From Fox? I'll just call Bell Fox. What is the difference between self-confidence and arrogance? It's a great question. Self-confidence, let me think about this before I answer. Let me think. Self-confidence, arrogance. the difference between self-confidence and arrogance is self-confidence is having trust in your skills, but knowing that you're still a student, you'll always be a student, and there's always more to learn, and there's always something to learn from everyone around you. But you have a confidence in holding your own. Arrogance is thinking that you know everything, and there's no room to progress, all right? Or you know more than somebody else, all right? That is the difference between self-confidence and arrogance. A self-confident person knows when they're ready for something, but leaves the opportunity that they're not and they're ready to ask help. An arrogant person will be ignorant to the fact that they might need help and support also. Humble, humility, big part of that. All right, now on to the meat and the meat and potatoes. All right, motivation. So what we're going to do for motivation is we're going to describe 3 types of personalities that people in different percentages fall into. Usually someone has a main one, but there are bits and pieces of each that people get. How to become more motivated, and then how I study. All right. All right. So motivation, the 3 personality types. All right. So the first motivation type I want to talk about is there's 3 personalities and types of motivation that they experience. All right. So motivation tends to, when we think of in a Western sense, like I was talking about Western versus Eastern before, we tend to think of motivation as a binary, as a monolith, as something that's like I have motivation or I don't, and there's like a quantity of motivation that I can have, or stuff like that. When in actuality, different types of personalities experience their own types of motivation. The problem is that if you don't recognize the types of motivation that you have, you can get caught up in these traps that these different types of personality types has by forcing yourself into a different personality type and forcing yourself to experience a different type of motivation that you do not feel. So the 3 types of motivations, I've named them. There's different other names, but those can get confusing, so I've made them more simple. The 3 types are, title here, motivation through personality. All right, so the first one, number 1, we'll do these numbers again. Number 1 is a flowing personality. This one is usually the big artist one. This is like artist number 1, usually, right? Once again, morally neutral. That doesn't mean that if you don't have a flowing type of personality, that means you're a bad artist, you're not a good artist, you're not an artist. This just tends to be the one that artists fall into, all right? Notice the difference, all right? Number 2 is a consistent personality, like a wall. You can compare to a wall or a rock, all right? Consistent personality. This one's like the secondary artist one, like artist number 2. All right, I tend to see less. Like if I had to break into percentages of like which ones do artists drop into more, I'd say it's like that's not a 7, 70 to like 30 breakdown. All right, or maybe like 25, because then the other 5% fall into this one sometimes. And the number 3 I call a like a slow and steady one. So slow and steady. Sometimes artists fall into this one. So actually it's in the proper order. Artist number 3. All right, this one's like 5% or lower. All right, so that's a less than sign. if you want to think of this like, characters or whatever, like the tortoise and the hare story, I consider this the tortoise, the hare. Now, this is just using like a rabbit, a turtle, not saying that like one is better than the other. All right, and then like the wind that's in the area. All right, the flow, the wind, the river they run by. All right, the river. All right, we're gonna go over these three. So the flowing personality, a consistent personality, and more of a slow and steady personality. All right. So the first one we're gonna go over is number 1, which is the flowing personality. Everyone here on the same page? We're all good? Number 1, flowing personality. All right. A flowing personality is someone that moves from one thing to the other. People with this type of personality tend to have a dynamic style motivation. They say they get super motivated at first. Let's pay attention to this part. This is big. This is how you know if this is you or not. They say they get super motivated at first, but then lack follow-through. And then they will say that this is a problem, but the big thing, they'll say that this is a problem that needs to be fixed pronto. The problem with this is that with this type of mindset that this is an issue, that this type of motivation is bad, all right? The problem with this is that when you go against the grain of who you are, you're setting yourself up for failure. I've said it multiple times throughout this lecture so far, which I hope you're all enjoying, that you have to be the best you, all right? I don't want you to be Anisloth or Anthony or Tony, whatever you want to call me. I don't want you to be Anisloth. I don't want you to be the best. I'm just thinking of Newgrounds people. There's mostly Newgrounds people here. I don't want you to be the best, Mind Chamber. I don't want you to be the best Phantom Arcade. I don't want you to be the best, James Lee. I don't want you to be the best Rice Pirate. I don't want you to be the best those people. I want you to be the best you, all right? I want you to be the best you. Understand your boundaries, understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and go with the grain of yourself. Because when you do that, you will be automatically setting yourself up for progress, setting yourself up for success. All right? Oh, I keep closing my phone. This is really pissing me off. All right, there we go. So, the solution to this, you're setting yourself up for failure. All right? The solution to this. So let's write down real quick. So this is a dynamic motivation. These people's brains, and by the way, this is me. I'm very much this type of personality. Their types of brains tend to go like this. One thing, to that thing, to that thing, to this thing. But then, back to that thing, It tends to be all over the place. Flow. You get excited easy, but you lose interest easy. All right? The solution to this is to... use a different color. To mix... So solution... Mix and match your schedule. All right. You guys hear that? The solution to this is to mix and match what you're working on throughout the day. Like I said, I'm actually someone who has this personality type. I can easily work a 10 to 12 hour day as long as I give myself the freedom to move from one thing to the other. These types of people thrive in freelance style environments. So people that, like me, I work freelance. I do level design. I do this mentoring on the side. I do social media marketing. I do social media consulting. I do even just regular commissions. All these different things. All right. Because for me, I actually need to do more. I need more things on my plate because if I don't, I start lacking motivation. I get burnt out from working on something for an hour or 2 hours. And then I'm like, I don't want to work on this anymore. And then I'm like, I have nothing else to work on. Well, then now I'm going to try to force myself to focus on this one thing. And then I'm going to screw it up for myself. All right? because I'm going against the grain of how my brain works. All right? Yeah, so these types of people thrive in freelance style environments. The good thing about this is that you'll get excited about something, like I said, but you know that motivation will. So the good thing about this is that you'll get just like I said up here, you'll get excited about something, but you know that if you go on to the next thing, you'll get excited about that thing again. So say you want to make this comic, like we keep going back to this comic, all right? But I worked on it for 2 hours and I'm burnt. I'm done. Well, now I have commissions or just freelance practice or something. Commissions, you don't get commissions. You can just work on other drawings. You know, the good thing about Newgrounds is collaborating. Find some other projects to collaborate with. You know, work on a different skill. Maybe for me, like I'm trying to learn a new language. I'm trying to learn Spanish because I'm from New York and there's a lot of Spanish-speaking people here. I have friends that are Spanish-speaking, and I would like to make them more comfortable and speak their native language. So I'm learning to speak more Spanish, and so maybe learn a life skill. Maybe a big thing I've been trying to do is learn cooking. All right, and then I go on Babbel for a little bit, learn some Spanish. I learn to cook. I watch some Binging with Babish. I love Binging with Babish or Maddie Matheson or any other cooks and people that I like. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and work on this comic again. Ready? So, comic, cooking, Babbel. Let's say, you know, just meditation, back to this. Or, the cool thing is that the motivation will come back. So instead of forcing yourself to focus on one thing, find other things to space it out in between. The cool thing is about this, that this can be pleasure time. All right? I'm not a big video game person anymore. I was. A big reason why I'm not a big video game person anymore, which I'm trying to be again because I really do like video games, and I do like watching movies and watching TV, is I'm finally giving myself the time to do that again because I can bounce in between these. I can actually go comic, this, I can work on the comic, then actually play video games for a little bit. Then work on my life skill, then go back to cooking, then go back to comics. All right? You can go play video games in between. There is nothing wrong with going, I'm going to work, I'm bored, let me open up Sam & Max. I know we talked about the panel, I love point and clicks. Play a couple, you know, play a level of Sam & Max. It probably takes like an hour, you know. Play some Sam & Max, play some King's Quest, play some, if you like, other games. I've been playing Deep Rock Galactic lately. Play a mission on Deep Rock, you know, do a mining mission, all right? You know, do whatever. Listen to a podcast. You can listen to a podcast when you work, or watch an episode of a TV show. You know, you can break it up a little bit. That's fine. Take frequent breaks in the day and do multiple different things throughout the day. Have some consistency. You know, you want to have some consistency, but have breaks. You know, this type of person, you know, doesn't really thrive in the 9-to-5 environment too well. All right, but you do want to have some consistency. I usually tell people the best consistency to have is to what's it called? Like you're when you get up and when you go to bed. That's a good consistency to have. Like for me, I get up at 6 a.m. and I try to go to bed at like 1 a.m. But as people that hang out in the festival chat with me at night know that I don't always do that. But hey, we're all human. And yeah, so have some consistency, but take breaks. Take frequent breaks. If you want to go on your phone and look at social media for a little bit, that's totally fine. You know, you'll move on. All right? Like I said, take frequent breaks. Flow people tend to experience lots of anxiety and procrastination. All right? Each one of these I'm going to show that there's a trap you can fall into, anxiety and procrastination. But remember what we said before. Your mind has the ability to see more problems than it exists. All right? See where, well, like I said, with the procrastination before and the anxiety, you know, actually anxiety is another big thing. Go on a tangent here for a second. Anxiety actually also isn't a bad thing. I don't think anxiety is a problem. It's when we let anxiety take control. All right? Because all anxiety is doing is giving you a future sense of some problems you might face. The issue is when you let those control your emotions. Now, obviously, there's way more involved situations. There's anxiety disorders, things like that. Like I said, this is all from a non-clinical perspective. So if you have a clinical reason for those, see a proper doctor. All right? So, that is the flowing personality. Most artists land in this box. All right, I'm going to label this one just flow. and move on to our next one. All right? Let's take a breather. How's everyone doing? Hey, we kept a consistent number here. I'm happy you guys are enjoying. Is everyone enjoying? Everyone's getting a little taste? Great. Awesome. All right. The next thing we're going to move on to is number 2. The consistent personality. All right. This one is big because the consistent personality is actually how our society is structured. Society is structured, most modern, developed countries are more, capitalist systems are structured around a consistent personality. All right? Like I said, society is structured around this type. This is what we call a traditionally highly motivated person. This personality is more driven and doesn't usually have problems with motivation. All right? A lot of the things that we think of as a lack of motivation is actually some problems we come into with the consistent personality. A lot of artists fall into this. I know I said around 30%, but 30% is a big number. All right? Population-wise, those get bigger. Say on the world scale, 30% of America's population, I live in America, is like, 330 million people? So it's like, geez, I'm bad at math. Almost 100 million. All right? But that doesn't mean that there aren't pitfalls these types of people can fall into. All right? One thing to keep in mind is that you should keep a more structured workday. All right? So these people tend to be more driven and don't usually lack motivation. Usually. All right? Sometimes it happens. Everyone's different. All right? Also considering that everyone's hopping in and out of these different things. All right? So driven, tend to not lack motivation, but there are pitfalls you run into. You benefit, if you think this is you benefit more from a structured workday. All right? Structured workday. All right? These types of people benefit from the 9-to-5 model. All right? Get up, go to the office, go home. All right? You have your work day, you have your work time block, and then you're done. All right? Also, you're the opposite to flow. You're usually the opposite to flow, or this type of personality. If you are mainly this personality, like I said, people can fall into different versions of each personality. But if this is you, you're usually the opposite of the flow personality, which will come into play later. You'd benefit from taking little to no breaks, which sounds like it sucks, but actually, let me explain. Little to no breaks. Because you're the type that once you get going, you keep going. All right? Though we need to watch out because these types of people are susceptible to burnout. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, this word. Burnout. Burnout. Big red. Big red. How many of you guys think you experienced burnout? All right, you've burnt yourself out. You work for 2 weeks straight and you're just done. You overwork yourself. All right? You do too much. Good, nerd. I'm really happy to hear that. Alicia, thank you so much. Persistent anxiety has never been an issue for me. Good. Happy to hear that. Great, Zig. Happy to hear that. So, how many of you people feel like you experience burnout? I'm sure it's a lot of you. All right? The reason why you experience burnout, I'm going to tell you what burnout is. All right? Burnout means that you have your ambitions, right? Your ambitions exceed your mental, I'll just say your stamina. All right? Your ambitions exceed your mental and physical stamina. All right? You want to make a comic, This type of person could go in and make like 10 pages. All right, just bop, bop, bop. A third of the comic we described. Oh my god. All right, you're like, oh, I'm going in. You burn yourself out. Then you can't work for 2 weeks because you're just so dead. What you're doing is you're actually making less progress that way. All right? You're actually making less progress by burning yourself out. So what this type of personality would benefit from is picking a start time and an end time. And after that end time, no more work. No more work. Unless something comes up where you desperately need to, crunch happens. Crunch happens in this industry. Crunch can sometimes be a good thing. It's a good way to test our mental fortitude, all right? But in healthy environments. But most of the time, burnout is what will kill these people, all right? It will knock them out. Kill's a strong word. It will knock them out. All right? That's a big thing here. This one isn't a lot to talk about because it's pretty straightforward. And most of society is structured around this. So it's more important to watch out for the things that can break you up. Because also the little to no breaks part is also very important. Because when you take a break, you're done. That's it. Because that's what it is. The 9 to 5. All right? Just like when you get home, and you're done, if you take a break, you're over. In the music industry, for you guys that do music, all right? John Mayer talks about the dinner trap. If you guys listen to John Mayer, I like John Mayer a lot. He's a very smart man and a great talent. John Mayer talks about that while you're recording, and all of a sudden you're like a few hours into recording, or you're a few hours into working on a project, and then someone goes, "Oh, I'm hungry," and everyone goes, "Yeah, I'm hungry too. I could eat." And then you go to the diner, or you go upstairs and you go in the kitchen, you go eat, and then all of a sudden you're like done. You're like, "Ugh, you know what? I don't want to go back to it," and then you don't do it anymore. All right, you ruin your track. All right. So a good thing that what John Mayer says to do is to eat before you work. All right, take your break before you work. If you need a little break before you start your work, which everyone is different, some people do. If your workday starts at 9 and it takes you an hour to get ready, get up at 7. Let yourself enjoy your coffee and your breakfast. Let yourself maybe watch an episode of TV. What's wrong with that? So let yourself enjoy this. Let yourself enjoy a moment and then go and work. And then when you're done with work, enjoy the rest of your day. Spend time with your family, with your loved ones, with your pets, with yourself. All right? Remember, self-kindness, self-love. Learn to love yourself and to spend time with yourself. All right? So that's the big one. Also, a big thing, one last pitfall for the consistent personality is that they tend to butt heads with people in collaborative structures. Since they're very work-oriented and a flow style or even a slow and steady style might clash with them. Actually, a consistent one tends to clash more with a slow and steady style. We'll learn later why. All right, so be careful of interpersonal problems, interpersonal conflicts. All right, learn to be, like we said before, the difference between self-confidence and arrogance. Don't get arrogant. Don't be be humble. Be accepting, be empathetic, all right? Because you might be able to work for long periods of time. Other people might not be able to, all right? Yep, but you gotta make yourself stop for the night. Sometimes you just gotta, all right? Damn, I'm calling you out. Good. It's good to get called out. All right, it's good to know. All right, I'm just gonna call it con, and let's move on to the next one, all right? Let's take a breath again. Doing good. Because remember, I'm still a person too. All right, I gotta. There we go. Jesus, don't let me click. There we go. Thanks. Who was that? All right, that was really sweet. Thank you so much. All right, we're almost there, everybody. Then we're gonna get to the Q&A. All right. We have 2 more things to focus on. All right. So now we have the last one, the slow and steady. All right, so slow. Oh no, that's not a number. Number 3, slow and steady. Slow and steady. All right? Personality. Whap. Whap. All right. Let me turn on the stream real quick, just so I can see how it looks. Oh, good. It looks good. All right. I didn't really see how it was formatted on the screen. All right. Slow and steady personality. All right. These people have a slow start but a heavy finish. Finish. These types of people tend to get their most productive hours, this is some people, late in the day or at night. Now, this is what I mean by these personality types tend to flow and meld into each other sometimes. A lot of people might be a flow personality, but experience the productivity and motivation of a slow and steady. So they might get, not motivation, the productivity of a slow and steady. So you might be a flow personality, have to jump from thing to thing to thing to thing, but you might get your most productive hours at night. All right, I know that's me. That's 100% me. I've learned that over the years. I like to bounce from thing to thing, but if I work before 3 a.m. on like actual like work, I'm at 3 a.m. 3 p.m. I'm like, I end up going really slow, and I get most of my work done at night. That's why I tend to, and I get most of my errands and stuff done in the beginning of the day, more life stuff. All right? So slow and steady personality. This personality is more driven and doesn't usually have problems. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. I was reading the wrong notes. This type of person is slow to learn things, and maybe other types will be quicker. So these people actually tend to be slow to learn, all right, which does not mean they're stupid, all right? To learn. That does not mean they're stupid, all right? Does not mean that you're, and once again, morally neutral, all right? Does not mean they're a bad person. Does not mean they're stupid. Does not mean that they do not know how to learn things. They're just slow to learn things. Then other types might be. They're quicker too. But I tend to compare these people to elephants, all right? Because elephants never forget. Actually, I'm going to circle this one. Elephants. But I tend to compare these people to elephants because they never forget. What I'm saying is that once you actually get going, you're a force of fucking nature, right? You're a force to be reckoned with. These people tend to hold on to information and tend to hold on to information for long periods of time, all right? These people tend to be late bloomers, what we would call late bloomers. These people might be in their late 30s or early 30s, late 20s, or even further than that, late 30s, early 40s. These people might not be really getting into the crux of their lives until later on, which is totally fine. One question that was asked of me during my Newgrounds panel during the Newgrounds Summer Festival was, do I have to worry about the time it takes for me to get things done, to progress in my art? And I said no. And I meant that. All right? If you're someone that wants to become an artist later in life, go for it. It's a little harder because of some cognition things, and your brain stops growing after 26, and there's more like clinical things, the reasons why it's a little harder later in life, but there's nothing wrong with starting later on. And for slow and steady personality people, this might not be a choice. You might be really only getting into your craft later on. And to be honest, if you ever heard the 10,000 hour rule, takes 10,000 hours to really understand a skill. This rule is meant for slow and steady people. That's what that rule is meant for. Right? That's really what they're talking about, is those types of people that really takes a long time to really hone your craft, because some people can really grab onto it, all right? Like a consistent personality person or a flow personality person might be really quick to learn something, but also quick to forget it if they don't stay in practice. A slow and steady person once they learn it, it is really hard for them to forget it. All right? All right? These people tend to hold on to their information, and their solution is to give yourself more time. What the hell was that? Give yourself more time. Be patient and kind. Ooh. Kind. All right? Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. All right? Because you need to give yourself time and be patient. Learning to accept that you don't work like the other two, in the majority sense, in your own time, you'll be stronger for it. Right? There's your late bloomers, like we like to say. If you be patient and let yourself learn at your own pace, I promise you'll be stronger for it. Now, these types of people tend to be susceptible to depression and beating themselves up, which stinks because these people tend to usually give up right before they're about to make some serious progress. I rush myself so much. It's true as fuck. I spend days with my paintings. I hate that. Halv, I see that you said that. Halv, I spend days on my paintings. I hate that. I'm sorry that you feel that way. And I understand why you feel that way. I hear you. But I want you to know that learning to be more patient with yourself, Halv, you'll learn to love yourself more and you'll actually make more progress. Right? Because now I know your art. And this is a case where I know your art more personally. All right? You're very talented. You're very talented, Halv. And I think letting yourself have that time makes your art better. All right? And what happens is people beat themselves up when they have these types of personalities, and they tend to give up right before they're about to make some headway, some serious headway. So once again, be patient with yourself and have some self-love, because that's very important. Watch your self-critiques. Don't critique yourself too hard, just like Hal did. I'm not calling out Hal, I'm just using an example. Spend days on my paintings. I hate that. Don't. All right? I understand you feel that way. That feeling is valid. That feeling is real. But try not to. All right? Try to give yourself more self-love. Be more patient. Don't beat yourself up, because I promise you, you're the most OP style of personality out of the three, in my opinion. Because like I said, once these people get going, they are nuts. All right? A lot of animators actually are slow and steady personality. Like a lot of more focused, serious animators, the ones that, well, I shouldn't really use those words. Those words tend to be more positive, enforcing. They're more morally neutral. They tend to, the ones that really focus on, that's their niche, they tend to be slow and steady personalities, because once they take the time to learn these things, they tend to be just killers. All right? A lot of Eastern style teaching comparatively, the East tends to be more slow. I dropped my pen? Oh, I caught it. Tends to be more slow, methodical, because a lot of more masters of things come out of the East, because they let each other be their personality. Let them each other thrive in their own environment. And that's why you got these crazy animators, these crazy artists coming out of Eastern regions, out of India, out of Japan, out of China, out of Russia. So there's some Russian artists that are crazy. Even parts of Europe. All right, parts of Africa. All right? Because they let themselves thrive in these personalities. There are benefits to Western approaches to things, but the reason why I tend to not... I tend to consider it incomplete is because we tend to, like I said in the very beginning, we tend to shoehorn people against their will. And like I said, Western society is built around the consistent personality. So their consistent personality, they tend to do great. They're like, oh, this is easy. Just do it. The Nike slogan, just do it. Just get better, noob. Just be better. All right? Come on, scrub. Get better. Just get good. Get good at life. All right? That's not how things work. All right? Once you let yourselves be in these personalities, accept who you are, don't go against the grain. When you go with the grain, I promise you'll see more progress. Now that we've done this, we've gone over these motivation styles. All right? We've learned what motivation is. How do I, what motivation is? How do I feel it? Now we're going to go over how to be more efficient and more conscientious. Because sometimes we'll go, all right, well, I understand how I'm motivated, but I don't know how to get discipline. We use words all the time, discipline. All right? Discipline. Let's write this in big red. Actually, you know what? We'll do black again. So, Discipline? Yeah? That's how we spell that, I think. You guys get the gist. Discipline. You know? Efficiency. Ooh, no, I know that's not how you spell it. There we go. Efficiency. All right. How do we get more efficient, more conscientious? All right. A big reason why people tend to lack discipline is sometimes it's a sense of discipline, it's a sense of giving into impulse. All right. A lack of discipline is giving into our impulses, giving into what makes us feel good, right? Which isn't always a bad thing. Let yourself love yourself for a second. You know, learn to breathe. But a reason why we can't do that is because we're not so conscientious of ourselves. So, how do we make more motivation? Because people tend to think, oh, I just got the bad straw in life. I got the short straw in life, the short stick, and I'm just not motivated, and I suck, and there's no hope for me. All right? It's not true. Right? There is, God, it's so fucking hot in this basement. It's so hot. I'm a new grounder. I'm in my mom's basement. We tend to think that we're lacking something. And what I think is a good way to learn discipline is to think about being conscientious, being good to others, all right? Because think about what happens when you do something good for somebody. Say you, let's use an example like your friend's car breaks down. Your friend's, I'll use a different color. Friend's car breaks down. They call you, and I'm like an hour away. They're like an hour and a half away. And they call you like, hey, what's up, man? What's up, girl? What's up, you? What's up? A car broke down. Can you come pick me up, please? You go, yeah, sure. You go, yeah, sure, friend. You're my bud, you're my buddy, you're my pal. I'll come pick you up. You were in the middle of about to make dinner. About to make dinner. To make dinner. Whatever, you guys know what I'm saying. Dinner. All right, you're playing video games. All right? And so on. What you're doing to go help your friend is to give up something to go help them. All right? Every time you help somebody, it's at a cost to you. It always comes to a cost to yourself. All right? That might sound like, extreme, but it is. That's what's happening. When you give up, when you go do something for somebody else, usually it's at a cost to yourself. Sometimes things can be mutually beneficial, but most of the time it's at a cost to yourself. You're giving up something. You're being conscientious. You're being empathetic. All right? And artists tend to be very empathetic. We tend to, especially as you train yourself to feel what the other artists are feeling, and to, observe art and, get into the emotions of things. Artists tend to be more empathetic. All right? So it's actually not a hard concept for us to learn. When you're being conscientious, you're practicing your ability to stop the need to feed an impulse. You're training yourself to not be so impulsive. So what you're doing really is you're training yourself to be conscientious for yourself. When you learn to be nicer to people, just by being nicer to people more often, doing more things for more people, you're learning to be conscientious, to be self-sacrificial, and to, at a point, don't go crazy, don't do nutso stuff, but small things like driving your friend somewhere, to cooking your friend's dinner, or at your cost, Then you'll learn that you'll have to take that and then learn to apply it to yourself. To go, I am going to put down my impulse to play video games to study, or to do a study, or to work on a project. All right? That's how we acquire more discipline. It seems super simple, because it is. It's not a crazy concept to get around. It's just hard to train yourself to do something. A lot of these concepts, when we talk about them, and I hope everyone's enjoying. I know there's a lot of information to take all at once. And it's only been an hour and a half. I know it's been a lot, but I know it's a lot of information, but it's good because you'll learn that now that you know this, you can practice it. All right, discipline. Now, with that, let's take another breather, and we're going to go over one more style. One more style of meditation for focus before we move on to the Q&A. I saw the numbers go up a little bit, so I'm just going to say again, this is a Anisloth University Mind Lecture hosted by the great people over at Newgrounds Festivals. This is a lecture on motivation discipline. What AU does is that we are a free, community-supported art education system that doesn't just give formal art education free to the open public, but also an education on the mind and the body of the artist. All right, we believe that there is a gap to fill in public education, and it's our goal, as our team, our mission statement, to bring it to you. All right, this will be pre-recorded if you've just hopping in now and you've missed out on some of the stuff we've been talking about, and it'll be pre-recorded in full and also chopped up into little bits later on, posted on a dedicated Anisloth University channel that will be coming later. It'll be launched in Q4 of 2020. All right, so let's move on to the last piece. All right, and this is what we're going to do is actually I'm going to get rid of this background. I'm going to make a new background. I'm going to make it light gray. And I actually want to do this on the spot because if you can't find a picture, you can make one yourself. All right. This is a peripheral focus meditation. All right. There's different names for it, but I'm not going to get the pronunciation. I don't want to butcher it. All right. We're actually going to use our dual axis symmetry tool for this. All right. So we're going to use a red box here. Use this time while I set this up to take a breather, get a drink of water. All right. All right. Green. I hope everyone's enjoying. If you have any quick questions before the Q&A, throw them in the chat. I am paying attention. There we go. And let's do a purple. All right, that is good enough. It's not that big of a deal. All right, and then, actually, you know what? Let's do. All right, there we go. I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make this full screen. This is our last form of meditation. This is a this full screen, so that's all you see. All right. So, what I want you guys to do is to this is a Joel asks, this is a peripheral focus meditation. This is something that we would do. Are you kidding me? There we go. This is something that we would do when we're feeling not grounded. We're feeling like we're like all over the place. All right, just like we're doing the ohms. This is another form of that. It doesn't require vocalization. It's more focus. So what I want you to do, and I'm going to do it with you, is you see this form, this formal mandalas that I'm actually going to put in the descriptions. I made this one quick for us. So even if you can't find a proper one, you can make one at home using the dual axis tool. I know Clip Studio has a version of that, and so does Photoshop. All right. We're going to look at the yellow dot in the center of our medallion here. All right. Here's what I want you guys to do. I want you, without blinking, until I say so, stare into the dead center of that yellow dot. All right. If you have to go like this to keep your eyes open, that's fine, but try not to blink, all right? And if you blink, don't worry. This is the first time. This takes a long time to master. I am not a master at it. You might even see me blink, all right? So we're going to look at our picture. I'm facing my screen, and I'm going to roll my eyes back, just roll my eyes back, roll my shoulders back. And I want you to focus on the yellow dot. All right? And go. See, I'm already, it's a screen. All right? Keep focusing on it. Maybe go in and out like this. And then when I say go, only using your peripherals, focus on the outer red box. So don't look at the outer red box. Keep looking at the yellow dot, but focus your attention to the red box. All right, now move on to the blue petals. Almost like you're looking at something with your peripherals. But keep looking at the yellow dot. All right, now focus on the green petals. Remember, keep looking at the yellow dot, but focus on the green petals. Remember to breathe. Keep focusing on the yellow dot. Now move on to the purple petals that might actually be looking black when you squint. Taking in less color. Keep looking at that yellow. Don't blink. Remember, you can squint your eyes, but keep looking at the yellow. Now focus on the red. And close your eyes. All right? If it works, you should see a red box or a dot. And focus on that image. You might even see a big black box. All right? But keep trying to focus and hold that image of at least a blue box, it might be. Or the petals. Focus on that image. Tell me if you see it. All right? Just keep focusing on it. Hold that image as long as you can. Keep trying to focus on it. Keep your shoulders back. Oh, lost my earplug. Keep trying to hold it. You might see the petals. You might see the box. All right? You've burned that image into your brain. Now you're focusing on it. Keep focusing on it. And relax. All right? Some people learn to do that for minutes. Masters learn that for hours. All right? It is a great grounding and focusing because, like we said, we are bringing ourselves from a light bulb brain to a laser pointer brain. It's okay, Chroma. Yeah, you're going to bounce in and out of being able to see it. All right, meditation takes a lot of practice, a lot of repetition, and it's something that people try to master for years, all right? But the goal is you can get the benefits of it almost instantly. From either just calming you down or being able to focus. All right? Once you're getting anxious, you're all over the place, you're death scrolling on social media, you're everywhere. Grab a medallion, one of these medallions, petals, draw it real quick, or have one ready, and just use it to focus. All right? Practice that, all right? I hope this has been great. I'm really happy that the box is haunting, LOL. All right? I hope this was great. I hope you guys learned something. All right? Now is the end of the lecture. I'm going to turn this off, put this back on, go to here, up here, that. I'll put a big old, oh, this smoothing's still on. Big old thank you. All right, now what's going to happen is I'm so relaxed right now. Great, I'm happy to hear that, Basic Witch. I just saw a big black box. That's good too, Josh. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. This was an AU lecture. Now we're going to move on to the Q&A in the stage on Discord. I'm actually going to stream Discord right now. All right, for those of you in the audience, this is on the stream Discord, and I'm open to questions. Just raise your hand using the feature, and I'll totally answer. If you guys don't have any questions, I'll give it a few minutes, let it think, and yeah, let me know. So thank you guys for watching, and you're welcome to stick around. Ask a question or two. If you have questions in chat also, if you're not in the server and you have questions on YouTube, please do not hesitate. All right? Let me go through the chat here. You can go to the stage, main stage, and raise your hand if there's any questions. Maybe if there's something I didn't cover, gladly, or reiterate something, I'll gladly do that. You're very welcome, Josh. I saw a blue square and a couple of the purple rectangles. Great. Guys, it's so funny. We'll hang out in here for a little bit. Once again, if you guys have any questions, you could raise your hand. If you don't, that means I did a good job. I'll hang out in here for a little bit. Hope everyone enjoyed. Or if you don't have a question, you could totally hop in and maybe you want to talk about what we went over today. That's good too. It's in the main stage section of the Discord, right? But officially now, if you're watching on YouTube and you're not over on the Discord, that's it. That was the lecture. I hope you enjoyed. That was an AU Mind module. Once again, it is being pre-recorded and will be split up later on. Oh, you have something from Q. Looks like Q come in. Hello? Hey, Q. Yeah, I can hear you. You're live. How's it going? Oh, great. Happy to hear. Good. Happy to hear. Mm-hmm. So those tend to be the three core personality types that people tend to fall into. What is good about people is that everyone is different. Everyone experiences things differently. So people tend to find themselves in like I said before. I'm a combination of mostly flow, but I have the work productivity of a slow and steady. Also, I want to reiterate and thank you for asking this question. If you don't know which one you're in right now, that is totally okay. It takes a lot of exploration, understanding the state of mind that you're in when you are stressed, when you are anxious, when you are productive. You know what I mean? So it takes some exploration, but they tend to fall in between those, and people tend to be different mixtures of the three that I've seen. So, great self-observation. I think you're doing a great job listening to your body, listening to your mind when you do creative things. And I want to touch on a few things that you said. So, a big thing to realize, what stinks is that we can't answer all these questions in a single lecture, or else I'd be here for days. So, things that you talked about are senses of fulfillment, are driving factors. So what I mean by motivation in this sense is what gets you to, like, on a baseline, like what your productivity is, what type of thing will keep you going. Now, there are driving points that'll make someone actually push through these set personality types. Like, I can only speak for myself. I tend to, which is not healthy, and I don't recommend it for people. I tend to like sheer will myself when I like I said, like I can't focus on just one thing at once. I need multiple other things. But sometimes when I'm crunching, I gotta focus, and that goes against my grain. But what drives me is either working with people, either goals or things that I just need. You can force yourself to do a lot. Humans are very amazing in that way. We can force ourselves to do things that we really don't want to do. So I think what I would say is, see when you do work on something, maybe check and see where your brain wanders, where your brain goes to. Like, say if you're working on something and you feel like 2 hours in, you're like, oh geez. Like, even if you have that quick emotion, like, oh, I'm exhausted, that's a sign of someone that might be experiencing a flow type personality. If you take a break and then you're like, you know what, I don't even want to keep going, like you were like stuck in like some people might experience something called a flow state, where you just get into it and you're just stuck into it and you just go, you know what I mean? Like, that would be something like a consistent personality. And the thing is that we're all mixtures of all of these at different times in our lives. Kids tend to be very flow, almost the majority. You know what I mean? They tend to be very like, I'm going to go play with my toys. I'm going to go watch TV. I'm going to go on my iPad. I'm going to go talk to my friends. I'm going to go talk to my mom about my toys, my iPads, and my TV. Like, they tend to be bouncing around. They get so full of energy. And, as we get older and we have different experiences and different, confirmations, different, different senses of, where we got positive and negative affirmation or responses to things that we've done. So sadly, it takes a little more digging to find exactly which one we fit into, or which, versions we fit into. What I would recommend for you, though, since you feel like you can't seem to place yourself, is to take the information from all three and keep those in mind while you work. Does that sound right or no? Kyo? Amongst the living? I'll give you a few more seconds. Hope you heard that. If not, we could always come back afterwards. All right, Kyo. If you do come back, raise your hand again, and I apologize, but I'm gonna have to move to audience. Sorry about that. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. Right, we're bringing Neko. All right, I hope people listen to what I just said before. Let me recap what I just told Kyo. If you find yourself not in one of these categories, take the information from all three and keep them in mind and apply them as you continue. All right, we're flowing people. All right, we're all in different stages. All right, let's bring in Neko. Neko, hello. You're muted. Yeah, there we go. Hello. Hi, how are you? Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm silent? Oh, you're good. Maybe right click and move my volume up? Okay. All right. That work. If that works for you. No. If that works for you, then go for it. What's... Oh, thank you. Thank you. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is where I would say I would focus less on the personality type you come into, and focus more on that challenge you're having. I think it's a combination of just being kinder to yourself, being so. Do you feel that you are forcing yourself to keep working, or do you get lost in your work? Mm. So what I think I would do, if I was in your shoes, what I would do is, do you keep your phone near you, or do you work on a computer mostly? No, yeah, no, it's fine. Do you keep your phone near you, or your computer? No, no, no. The reason why I asked that is because what I would do actually is I would set an alarm for yourself when you feel like you should be done, and then go and consume some nutrients and maybe some water. Maybe bring water to your desk with you and keep it in front of you. All right. Maybe make some little mini alarms. Mm. Because like I said, oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, it's power Discord. No, it's good. Yeah, it's just Discord. That's how it does it. It does it. It's fine. Go ahead. Oh, good. Yeah, so I think the big thing with the water part, I want because a lot of people forget like what you're saying, forget to drink water. Make like a little 15-minute timer to just and keep the water in front of you to just drink a sip of water. All right, all right, all right. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna be back to audience. All right, have a good one. All right, that was great. Yeah. So for people to recap that one, for people that feel um, that they know where they are, but they don't really know the solution. Like I said, the more consistent brain tends to be more structured. So you want to give it structure, give it more structure. You thrive on structure. So set a timer for yourself. If you want to work, if your work day for you, and also that length of time might be different for other people. It might not be 9 to 5. It might be 9 to 3. It might be 10 to 5 or 11 to 5. You know, set a timer for yourself, and then when you're done, when you want to be done. All right. So that was great. That was a great question. All right, let's move on to Belaves Fox. Call him B Fox. Hello, my friend the Fox. You are muted. Give you a few minutes to figure. I'll give you a minute to figure that out. Let me just double check in the YouTube chat here. Make sure we didn't get anything. Great, I'm happy you liked. Long off now. See you, Joe. All right, Bay Fox, I'm gonna give you a few more seconds to figure that out. If you do end up figuring out your mute, maybe you can hop into the different VC and check it out. If not, you could always raise your hand again, and we'll throw you back in the queue. Okay? All right. All right, we're gonna move on to Chroma. Sorry about that, Fox. Once again, guys, if you're having a problem with your mics, I'll give you guys a few seconds to figure that out. If not, we're gonna move on to the next person. But if you do figure it out, hop right back in the queue. Okay? Let's go to Chroma. Hey, Chroma, my friend, how are you? Oh, thank you so much. It's very good, kind. Mm, mm. Well, I'm really happy that you're making that self-realization. You deserve to be kind to yourself, Chroma. You're very talented and you're very hardworking. All right, I know that personally. So, did you just want to say that, which is fine if you did, or did you have a question? Well, that is very sweet. And just so everyone knows, including Chroma, my DMs are always open. No matter how big or small this gets, my DMs are always open, and I will gladly respond to you as canon. All right. So, Chroma, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. I'm sure I'll talk to you sooner than later. All right. All right. See you, Chroma. Bye. That was very sweet. I'm happy you guys are enjoying this. All right. We're gonna move on to Miro. There we go. Miro. Hey, my friend. My friend. Hello. Oh, great. I'm actually gonna check. Is this coming through? Oh no, that sucks. Actually, you know what? That's for the Q&A. It's for you guys. Never mind. Oh, well, you could take yourself a moment to remember it. Hmm. Well, like that is a challenge that a lot of artists face, and I think it is once again your feeling for that is true. It's valid. And, I'm sorry you feel that way, but what I would say to that is that even no progress done in the right way is progress in itself. So what I mean by that is learning to be still and be comfortable where you are. So not being comfortable, but accept where you are. So say, let's talk about like your artistic skill in a general sense, or your progression in making a new project. Once you learn to, and it takes time, it's hard. It's really hard to just rewire our brains. You know what I mean? It's not as easy to just go like, oh, I'm better now. Oh, I love myself now. Because remember, like I said before, we can't fix perfectionism by being perfect and not being perfect, right? So the what I would say is I would say is take this time that you're not making anything to do some inner digging and to take some time for yourself. You just made, once again, some of these people I know personally, if you're watching this side, Mira, you just made a big animation. You've been drawing like crazy. Almost every time we hang out, you're drawing something. So I think personally you are making a lot of great progress. I think you're just not letting yourself realize it. You're not letting yourself enjoy the progress that you are making because you think you need to be somewhere else. All right? Does that sound correct, or am I picking up on something else? So no, once again, I don't push any certain ideologies or anything like that. But I always say I come from a more Eastern standpoint ideologically. The the Buddha always said that that accepting where you are is bliss. To want for the future, to want to look where you are, to accept where you are is bliss. To seek the future and only the future is suffering. All right, you should learn to accept where you are, and to at your own pace and in your own time, learn to accept who you are, learn to accept where you are in your skill set, in your mental health. All right, and then once you do that, once you are finally kind to yourself, because like I said, kindness is not tied to progression. Once you are kind to yourself and you accept where you are, because honestly, you've been doing amazing work. All right, you've been doing amazing art. Accept what you are, and then once you're able to do that, you'll see yourself let yourself progress. Did I word that correctly? It's late. I'm tired. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, you hit on the nail on the head. You know, a lot of you people in here are very talented artists, and I think you got to give yourselves more credit for the accomplishments you're making, because from the outside looking in, I stalk you guys. You guys are my friends. You guys, when I'm learning and I'm reading new artists, I see your late submissions and I see your new submissions. A great part of Newgrounds, like this is sponsored by, thank you, the Newgrounds Festivals team. If you go on Newgrounds, Tom always says keep your old submissions up, because you can go through your account and see your progress, no matter how subtle or extreme it may be. All right. So maybe I would implore, if you do keep it, if you do have some of your stuff still, maybe go back and look at your old art, because what I think you'll notice is a definite change. All right? All right. I love you, my friend. I'll talk to you soon, okay? Oh, all right. All right. Have a good one, all right? Talk to you soon. All right. Remember, to accept where you are is bliss. To want, to need for the future is suffering, because you're not there yet. All right, we haven't reached those goals yet, but we have achieved what we already have. All right, you don't want to move the goalposts on yourself. I'm looking at this screen now. I'm over here. You don't want to move the goalposts on yourself. You don't want to you don't say, like I always compare things to eating healthy or to physical fitness. Say I eat a salad one day and you're like, huh, like I said, this is the avoidance procrastination, the number 2, like we mentioned before. Avoidance procrastination. I don't want to eat healthy. Eating healthy is gross. You eat the salad, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. That actually tasted pretty good. Oh, I should have done this a week ago. You're moving the goalpost on yourself. You're getting in this cognitive loop of not letting yourself win. All right? We have to get ourselves in a mindset where we let ourselves win sometimes. We can't be so self-beating down, all right? So thank you for that question. And I know he's not here, but Miro is great. And thank you so much for watching. Let's go on to KCJ, all right? KC, what's going on? Hello. Hello. Thank you for being here. We will figure it out together, I promise. Hmm. Let me think about it for a second. Is that okay? Can I think about it for a second? Okay. Because that's a great question, and it's something I deal with too. So, besides finding out which personality type you are, which one you would fall into, let's put that to the side for a second and act like we didn't just talk about that for an hour. Um, so, what I would say is this want or this need to keep saying yes to things comes most of the time, and tell me if this is right, because what I'll do a lot is I'll build up this like tower of dominoes, and sometimes it'll fall, but sometimes I hit on the head and it'll stay up. But tell me if this sounds right. So sometimes what we do as artists, we tend to, before we even start committing to becoming an artist, a big anxiety we'll have is we'll never find work. We'll never find something to do. I'll always be relying on making my own opportunities because either I suck or I don't know how to start or I don't know how to get opportunities. So when they present themselves, besides us telling ourselves that we have to work, we go, oh, I can't miss this opportunity. Oh, I can't miss this thing. I can't miss that thing. And we start piling on this plate. And what we do is we put so much food on the plate, and our eyes are bigger than our stomach, and then we tend to come crashing down. Does that sound accurate? Okay, so it's going to sound like this isn't the issue, but this is what I talk about being kind to yourself. By letting yourself know that there's going to be other opportunities on the horizon. I've only been a working professional in the creative field for 4 years when it comes to like actual like freelance work, and I'll have you know that I've said no to a lot of things. All right, and I'm also lucky, and there's different circumstances for certain people. You know, you have to know when to learn to say yes and no to things, and that comes with time and experience. All right, and we have to know that we have to give ourselves patience, but that we allow ourselves patience. Allow ourselves kindness to know that you just said before, I don't want to skip that part, you said you without giving yourself time to rest. So it sounds like you need to rest a little bit. It sounds like you need to take a breather. You know, a big thing that we don't learn how to do, especially because, do you want to be an artist professionally? Do you want to make a living being an artist? So what happens is, we spend the whole beginning of our, maybe around high school, I guess, maybe, you know, depending on when this becomes more of a conscious thing for you. I'm going to be poor and hungry, and I'm never going to be able to eat, and I'm so stressed that I'll never get there fast enough. And you're already filling yourself up with all this anxiety before you even started. And a lot of artists don't know how to breathe, don't know how to take a breath. And this is why I always recommend meditation to people, because what's going to, so let me, hold on, I tend to get myself in this little loop. What I would offer to you is, before you say yes to something, take a moment, meditate, and think about where you'll be with this project a month from now. Or even if it's a short-term thing, a week from now. Right? Because sometimes we can say yes to something in the moment, but we don't know if we'll be able to say yes to it a month from now. You understand what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Keep in mind. So what I do normally is like we said, we're all different versions of these different personality types. I take the sense of structure from the consistent type, and I like having lists. I have a lot of lists. I have a lot of TXT files on my desktop. One of them I have is ongoing projects, and what I do is I allow myself 5 projects because I'm a flow personality and I like different things. For you, it might be a different number. It might be a bigger number, it might be a lower number. I allow myself 5 projects to work on. And currently, I'm at 5 projects. So unless it's something that I really, really want to work on, and I'm okay with compromising myself for a short period of time to work on this project, I say no. And it might sting, and it might be rough, but unless it's something I really, really want to work on, and I mean really want to work on, I say no. And it might be hard, but I think you'll be better for it. But, Casey, I think you should need to let yourself rest. To not what? Listen to your body, because you'll feel it. You'll feel it. When you're grabbing your face and you're just like, ugh. When someone even offers you something, that means you don't want it. That means you don't want it. That means you're like, oh, jeez. But since we convince ourselves we have to take every opportunity, big or small, becomes small becomes an obligation, and that is not a way to live. All right. Remember, you're a person first, an artist second. All right. You're Casey first. You're KCJ567 the second. All right. All right. Does that make sense? All right. Is there anything else, or are you good? All right. Thank you so much for listening, all right? And I'm happy you asked. All right. I'm going to move you to the audience now. Bye. Have a good one. You're welcome. So, like they said, Saying no is really hard. It's super hard. I have a problem with it because I get so excited. Because my flow types get easily excited, and I'm like, I know. Oh my god, yes, a game. I'll work on a game for you. Oh, we'll make an animation. I love to do the animation. And then, but I know myself by thinking, by looking back, by going, all right, I know how I am. I know how I act. Am I going to be just as excited about this in 2 weeks? Am I going to have the free time I have now in 2 weeks? And I'll use that as a cadence to go, should I do this or should I not? All right. But it's all there's no concrete state of being with this stuff. It's all practice. All right. Thank you so much for the question. That was a great question. All right. Let's go on to basic witch. Hello. Hi. How are you? Oh, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Sure. And if you want, you can mute yourself till it feels, if however you feel. All right, because if you feel like you don't want to talk to you anymore, I don't want to push you to be over uncomfortable. But so yeah. Well, first of all, what I do want to say is, I am in no way a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a therapist. The most medical training I have is I'm an EMT. That's all I got. So if you got a boo boo, I can heal you. But uh, yeah, boo in the brain. That is very true. That's very true. So I if you are experiencing heavy feelings of depression, anxiety, um, I would recommend at first to get professional help. In any way you could do that. But say you've already done that, and you're working on that, and this is more of a lower level, not serious, life altering depression and anxiety. Yeah. Hmm. So I would say you're a combination of with obviously the struggles that you have, but I feel like you're a combination of consistent and flow. So it sounds like you can get yourself in a heavy works. It sounds like you don't really have a lack of motivation. It's more of a lack of it's more than a lack. I wouldn't say lack. I don't think you have a lack of motivation. It sounds like you're easily burnt out because of these struggles that you have. Your mental stamina is very low. So, which it happens, and we can work on those different ways that we'll learn later on to fix those things and work on that. But what I would recommend for you in the meantime is to listen to your body, is to not force yourself. A big thing that it's sad that the world isn't built a way around where we can do things like this all the time. But if you feel that you're not in the mind space to work on something, don't work on it. And I think you should allow yourself to not work on it. If you feel like you don't have the capacity to take commissions right now, once again, unless it's a source of financial security for you, there's compromises that we have to make, sadly. And I wouldn't recommend compromising yourself fully, financially, to so do things within the financial comfort that you have. especially when you deal with things like commissions or work or job opportunities. Um, but maybe it's time to go on a hiatus. Maybe it's time to close your slots. Maybe it's not an issue to tell your commissions that it might take a little while. Like, say if what's the commission? If you don't mind me asking, what do you tell your clients that the commission's gonna how long it's gonna take, roughly? Mm-hmm. 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 Well, yeah, that's definitely true. Okay, I'm getting a better picture now. So remember, take this with a grain of salt and use this information to when you and yourself go to um, think about this problem, how to solve it. Take this information with you. Commissions aren't the only way to make income as an artist, and we tend to, because of the culture online and everything like that, we think, oh, I'm only going to make money if I do commissions. I'm only going to make money if I work in collaborations with people. Um, and what I tend to tell people is, if you don't go against your grain, the money will come. It'll eventually come. Um, and the not even money, if you put money as a sense of progress, which I wouldn't do that, because progress is more self than things you can't control. But maybe what I would say is, maybe commissions in your current situation, the current struggles that you're dealing with, maybe commissions aren't the best way for you to make financial progress with your art. And maybe you might want to explore things like releasing collections of prints, or maybe videos or streams, or things that don't require you to have energy and time more consistently. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like you're putting more stress on yourself, which then makes your depression worse, which then makes your anxiety worse, and you're putting yourself in a loop of being like, of like, oh, I have to get this done, I have to get this done, when that might not be the best way for you, because it seems like you'll work better if you can work on your own time. Mm. Hmm. That I wouldn't say something's wrong with you. I wouldn't use that. I would say that that's a bigger problem. Well, not problem. That's a bigger situation. No, because it's not a problem. It's not a problem. That's how. Like I said, the big thing to take away from this lecture today is understanding yourself and listening to yourself. But also, that doesn't mean, remember, accepting yourself. Like we said with perfectionism. Because that's even, it takes perfectionism takes different forms than just saying I have to be the best. Um, listening to yourself and your body, accepting it. So right now, I think a thing we need to, not right now in this instant, but as you go on from this lecture, accepting that, hey, I have depression, I have anxiety, I have very low energy. Maybe commissions might not be the best way for me to fulfill myself creatively and financially in that sense. But I'm also accepting that it's hard for me to do things for myself. Whatever that reason may be. Maybe you're avoiding, maybe this goes back to the procrastination part. I don't know if you were here for that part. For avoidance or operational, or things that, like, you're like, or maybe idealistic. That might be also be an idealistic procrastination, where you're like, oh, if I do make myself keychains or prints and stuff, I need them to be perfect. And then okay. Hmm. So real quick, let me pull this up again. So a solution I give for you is to I'm gonna literally give the solution I gave earlier on, because if that's hitting it right on the nail on the head, and it seemed to have a really strong reaction with you when I said that. Once again, we're building up this tower of dominoes, and we're hoping they don't fall. The solution I give to you is, first, recognize that you're chasing a fantasy by trying to have a perfect keychains, prints, everything. A perfect launch of this store, of this basic witch store. You know, and that recognize that that because you have this idealistic sense of what that's going to look like, what that's going to be, that it's keeping you from actually starting it, because you're making this big, you understand what I'm saying? And I think a second step is to once, because now that you're not trapped, when you're stuck in this loop of the commissions and not getting them done, and depression and low energy. Maybe, like I said, accepting where you are, grieving the loss of that reality for a second, and just letting yourself breathe and go, like, hey, I'm just not that guy. I'm not. You're not that guy, pal. You know what I mean? I'm not that person. All right. And then I think what would be good is to pick a manageable goal of that big goal and shoot for that. So maybe you should just do prints, or maybe just do keychains, or like the enamel pins, or other things that people make. Maybe you need to pick one of those and just start with that, because what you'll see is, once you make the enamel pins, now you have enamel pins. All right, well, that was really good, and some people seem to like that. Maybe I'll do t-shirts. Oh, people seem to really like these t-shirts. Oh, maybe I'll do stickers. Oh, maybe I'll take the enamel pins and make them into bookmarks, or and all of a sudden you have a full store. You have a full store of all these products. Like, you see how breaking it down into manageable, this fantasy into manageable, realistic chunks based off your energy level might actually yield a benefit later on. Because right now you're trying to go to 100, but you're stuck at 0. Maybe it's okay to go to 10. You know what I mean? All right. Well, I hope this helped. I have someone coming in. Thank you for talking. Thank you for feeling comfortable for talking. I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and thanks. I appreciate it. Good luck. All right. Like we said, idealistic procrastination, having this fantasy in our brains of what we can be and what we want to be. Remember, this perfectionism. That's another part of perfectionism, is being like, oh, I have to be this. It has to be this, or I won't do it at all. We're chasing a fantasy that we're going beyond our human limitations. All right, especially our personal human limitations. We're going against our grain. We're going against our grain. We're gonna go with our grain. All right. If I'm like for me, I'm writing a story right now. I have other things I'm working on. I decided that I wasn't going to draw anything for it. I was going to do this. I was going to draw and then write and then draw and then write and do storyboards. I'm just writing right now. I'm writing a page a week. I'm writing the characters. I'm writing a page a week. I'm giving myself that slow of time, because I care about this thing so much that I'm like, hey, I'm literally going to just like type a page a week minimum. Minimum. I might go above that and get to 3 pages. Now, I'm not going to move the goalposts on myself like we were talking about before. I'm not going to go, all right, now I can do 3. No. If I can do that again, all right, now we'll move to 2. Right? We're making these steps to our goal. All right, because eventually you'll realize after, instead of trying to dig a 100-foot hole in one day, getting tired, breaking an arm or a leg, exhausted, oh, fuck this hole, I'm not going to dig it anymore, I'm not going to dig this well. Or instead of doing, I'm going to do 5 feet every other day, or a foot a day, or whatever, eventually we'll have our 100-foot hole. All right, we'll eventually get to our goal. Thank you so much for that question. We're going to go to Jenkum. Jenkum. Hello? Yeah, I can hear. Hello, my friend. Oh, yeah, that happens. That's how, emotions do that, tend to do that. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, no, it does make perfect sense, and thank you for asking. So, what I would say is on like a more basic level, we do eventually have to like prioritize, like especially with our personal projects, which one we we have to find. Hmm, we have to find what our goal actually is. Is our goal to make these things happen, or is our goal to get something done? Because both are very valid and reasonable goals. Sometimes I'll have things where I just want to get a drawing out. Doesn't matter what the drawing is. So I really won't think about too much what the drawing is and blah blah blah, but I'll just get it done. Sometimes I have a drawing that I care about and I want it to get done. So both are valid. So first I would prioritize what my goal is, and then based on that goal, sorry, I would figure out what my goal is, then based on the goal, prioritize which one will come first. Um, and then I think it's down to the breaking it down, and taking your time with it, allowing yourself some the patience, um, and the time to get it done. If do you understand what I'm saying? you know, um, this also can be a form of, I keep, not everything's so static like I'm making it when I'm keep referring to other things, but I keep wanting to referring it back to the lecture we just had. This can also be a form of idealistic procrastination where we have this, fantasy of, it could be any one of these projects. It could be, each, any one of these comics. It could be these half finished animations or drawings or models or whatever. And you have all these things that you want to get done, you want to do, and you're loving the idea of them being done on your page or on your channel or whatever. Um, and we get so caught up in that we're like, oh, I can't fuck it up, and then we even if that's subconscious, we tend to the procrastination of readiness. Keep trying to get yourself ready to start this comic, or start this animation, and then when we get into it, you might get into a more consistent personality, and you burn yourself out, and then you just don't finish it. You just don't even want to look at it anymore. Does that sound accurate or no? You think so? Yeah. So what I would do really is, besides all the other stuff we talked about, I think your best bet is to make a list of these things these projects that you have. Ask yourself what your goal is with each one, and then prioritize based on that goal. That's what I would say. Because eventually we do have to pick which one we're going to work on and spend our time on. Because if we the saying goes, the brightest candle burns the fastest. If we try to put as much fuel into this jankum fire and get this fire roaring, get all these projects done, you're gonna burn yourself out pretty quickly, and then you're not gonna get any of them done. You know what I mean? So sure. So yeah. So when you're thinking of your project, sometimes we have passion projects. Sometimes we have art that might be a part of a bigger project. Um, Sometimes we just want to. Sometimes we're just trying to fill a void and keep trying to come up with more things and to act like that we're being productive because we attach our self worth to our productiveness. There's a bunch of different reasons why we do things, and that would be our goal. And once you spend your time with yourself to realize what that goal is, whether it be very surface level, like I just want to make a thing, or maybe it's a little deeper, like I care about this thing, or maybe it's even deeper than that, like I just said, and it's more of a like I'm not letting myself relax. I have to have all these projects going, or else I'm not doing anything. You know what I mean? So it's good to find out why you're doing something because a good sense of why I'm doing something actually helps you focus on the thing and rationalize with your not rationalize with yourself logically tell yourself why you're putting so much effort into it. Because sometimes we actually lose the plot. We lose why we're doing something, and then it just then as soon as it gets annoying, we're like, fuck it, and you just drop it. You know what I mean? Does that answer your question, or do you want me to explain something else? Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, well then that's a different that's less of mind stuff and it's more like a business sense. So I think something that's you know why I always feel transparency is important in the industry. Because even when you're working on a personal level here, it's still part of the industry. You're still making content. You're still making entertainment, um, a product. Uh, People don't realize how many projects in video games just die. Like you don't hear about unless something gets leaked, you don't hear about half the games Activision is working on or half the games Devolver is working on. You know what I mean? Like you don't really hear about these projects because they don't even leave the like concept phase. So we yeah, early development stages. So we tell ourselves as individual creators that if a project isn't working out, it means we failed. It means we have to get it done. Sometimes a project just kind of it just fizzles out and it happens. Now, like I said about being focused on what your goals are, if this is a passion project, well, there's nothing wrong with putting it on the back burner and coming back to it later, if you really care about it. But if it's just to get something done, I would suggest just dropping it. And if it's a really cool idea, keep a notebook, keep a notes tab on your phone or your computer, and just don't lose the idea. But sometimes you have to just let some projects go if that's the case. If you really need this voice actor, and it would really help, then either wait for them to be ready or just put on the back burner. A lot of projects sit, and just stay. Like I have like two animation collabs I have planned, so people in the audience are actually a part of it, and those are on the back burner till I'm ready. It just happens. I wouldn't beat yourself up over it. Remember, just, be kind to yourself and let yourself, breathe. If you can't get something done, you can't get something done. Yeah, thank you for being here, Jacob. I'm happy you're happy to see you, my friend. All right, well, that's about it. All right, thank you so much. All right, have a good one. Bye. All right, yeah. So once again, guys, before I let Fox come in for the second time, uh, it's okay sometimes. Let's put all this awesome motivation stuff to the side. In a business sense, it's totally okay to put a project on the back burner, to just not work on it, to even just drop it. Remember, progress is morally neutral. You're not a bad person because you don't get something done. You're not less of an artist because you don't get something done. Shit happens sometimes. That's the most, chill, laid back, less introspective thing I could say tonight. It just shit happens. It happens, and I really wouldn't worry about it too much. But I'm gonna let's hop Fox back in, see if they can get it going, and this might be the last one for the tonight, unless someone else requests in the next 10 minutes. Hello, hey, how's it going? Welcome back. Oh, no worries, no worries. I'm happy you figured it out. Boredom. That's actually a really, really good question. Let me think about that for a second. Hmm. Hmm. Well, like I said before, with the we said prior with the different personality types of motivation, the different types of motivation people might experience. Like I said before, I'm more of a flow type of personality, so I get really easily excited about a project and really excitedly motivated, but my motivation fizzles out pretty quickly. Um, so what I do to remedy that is I actually give myself multiple things to work on, and I don't even mean work as in projects. Like I said before, I'm learning how to cook. I'm trying to learn how to speak Spanish. I am, even just be. I worked on a thing for a little bit, and now I'm gonna watch TV or play a video game or something for an hour or two, and then what we'll realize is you'll actually get your motivation back eventually, because then you'll get bored of that thing, and then you'll move on to the next thing, and then you're like, you know what, maybe I can try to do the other thing again. Does that sound right? Am I hitting, or does that not? That sounds good. Yeah, so I would say that boredom is just, unless something genuinely is boring, then maybe you have to reassess why you're doing something. Like I don't really find math that fun. I find like architectural math and stuff like that fun, like things that are more functional. But like just the idea of like doing equations, not really fun for me. For other people, it's actually really fun. The people like the puzzle, the problem solving part. That's genuinely boring for me. There's not going to be a situation where that's fun for me. But when it comes to art, it's something that I know that I like. If I find myself not being bored of something I'm working on, you're much better off leaving it to the side and working on something else and coming back to it later than forcing yourself to work through, because then you're just going to hate it and you're not going to want to work on it anymore. All right. Well, I hope that helped. Do you feel like I answered your question? Great. Great. Thank you so much. I'm happy you were able to figure it out. That was a great question. All right. Well, unless anyone else wants to hop in, we'll give it till 9:55. Uh, Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate all the kind words and very consistent viewership all the way through. You guys have been here since 7. That's a lot of time, a lot of information to take in. Like I said prior, this is going to be archived either on the channel, you can watch it in full, and then I will myself, when the official Anisloth University launches, be dropping this on a lecture playlist chopped up into the procrastination section, the motivation section, the perfectionism section. So you'll be able to, like, maybe there's a part you missed or a part that you wanted to reiterate on. You don't have to like scroll through and find. You'll find it for you. I realized at the end here this Q&A was not properly recorded. You only heard my answers, which maybe you'll be able to pick up on what it was. I have to fix that in the future. That was my bad. But yeah. So thank you so much for watching. This has been an Anisloth University lecture. This was an AU mind model, and I appreciate you guys hanging out. So I'm going to end the live now.